If I was going to buy a primary residence in 2024, this is what I would do. Who am I? I'm a dude that bought 6 properties in 2023. And before you blow up the comments about how I'm a monster and I buy a bunch of residences and turn them into investments so somebody else can't own them as a primary residence, here's the deal. 2 of my properties are Airbnbs that are marketed specifically for families, larger families that can have up to 6 couples staying under the same roof with all the amenities of a house. Another one of my properties is a triplex that's across the street from one of our hospitals that's specifically geared to give travel nurses a safe, comfortable, reliable place to stay while they treat their patients. Let's all get on the same page here. Who you're concerned about and who we are both fighting are the big hedge funds. Mm-hmm. Something upwards of 35% of primary residences were scooped up by hedge funds last year alone.
That sucks.
That sucks because those residences will never enter the market again. They're going to be rentals for all of time, and that means that first-time home buyers or somebody looking for a primary residence will never have access to those homes again. I've been in real estate for 2 years. I'm trying to provide a quality product to somebody who is not in the market to buy a primary residence without taking that ability away from somebody who wants a primary residence. Let's work together and I will teach you to do what I did so you can do the same thing. Now, on another note, who's this beautiful woman? Is it an angel? Yes. Is it my wife? Also, yes. She was created in some freaking government lab. Not really, because government sucks at everything. She was created from the heavens above and put on this earth specifically to keep this dude grounded.
That's good.
That's the one. That took us 18 takes.
You're not an idiot.
Everyone's going to think I'm coked out. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to go adventuring. Why she's here is because she bought our last residence of the year. We snuck it in there right in December 2023. My DTI, debt to income, is smoked from buying other properties. She is not a real estate professional at all. And I'm barely a real estate professional because I've only been doing it for the 2 years that I mentioned before. Yeah. She has a very specific perspective of somebody who entered into the real estate world in a time that she wasn't really ready to, per se, because she came from all the fear mongering of, interest rates and it's too expensive to buy. Yeah. She is here to give her perspective of how she bought us our primary residence, how we made it affordable. So this is exactly what I would do. First, I'm going to rapid fire. So if you guys are done listening to this big monkey talk about his beautiful wife, I'm going to rapid fire exactly the steps I would take. And you could send this off to your lender, send this off to your realtor, and get them on board and start freaking ripping. And then I'll go into detail for each one. So 1, go get pre-approved. 2, find a quality realtor. 3, decide what kind of property that you want, what fits your needs the best. 4, have that realtor negotiate seller concessions. This will matter later. 5, have your lender do a 2-1 buy down. 6, close on the house and live happily ever after.
That's
cool.
The good part.
The whole thing's the good part.
The American dream, baby.
I freaking nerd out about all this stuff. So I'm like, let's go. Finding a quality lender. And guys, I'm telling you, send this out to a lender, send this out to a realtor. There's going to be some retail lenders that are not happy about this, and I dare you to find me in the comments below.
Ooh.
He's spicy today.
Fighting words.
Yeah. I am not a violent person. I just like open discussion.
That was not a threat.
Yeah. Said none of my command in my whole life.
Ooh,
dang,
nice.
Girl, we just hit 4 Gs.
I need to slow down. Yeah. Look how pretty this is, though.
I know.
Like winter wonderland up in here.
Winter wonderland. That's definitely going in the video.
I love Idaho.
Okay, quality lender. What you're looking for is a lending broker and not a retail lender. And a broker has access to more lenders, the people who buy the loans, because what happens if you don't know how lending works is the lender you get it from, they end up selling it to a mortgager. That's a bigger company that kind of comes together with a bunch of people's money, and they invest into these mortgages, run out of money if they're just self-lending. So they sell these mortgages to larger groups that have more money, if that makes sense. So broker, and you're looking for someone who can do the 2-1 buy down or even knows what that is. If somebody can't speak intelligently to it and explain it better than I can, which should be very easy to do, then that's not the lender for you. Finding a good realtor. Everybody has a realtor in the family, and unfortunately that doesn't mean that they're necessarily a good realtor. What makes a wealthy realtor is somebody who lead gens very well and finds a lot of clients and gets their name out there. What makes a good realtor that will serve you the best is somebody who definitely owns their primary residence and somebody who has investment properties. And realtors, find me in the comments below. If you do not own real estate as a realtor, you do not understand real estate. The easiest way to interview a realtor, ask them to explain to you principal pay down, tax mitigation through real estate, how the interest rate affects your mortgage versus the purchase price, what a seller concession is, what the process of buying a primary residence actually is. If a realtor can explain to you what leverage is, that's a dude to go with, or a dudette, because women are investors too. And then ask them what their negotiating techniques are. And I'm going to, at the end, give you guys a top secret negotiating hack that I use with all of my properties. Send this to your realtor friends. I promise you they'll get something out of this. What makes a bad realtor? You'll be able to tell right off the bat if that realtor comes off kind of desperate or they're looking for their commission. Signs of this is if they're pushy, or if they don't know how to answer questions, or if they ignore you when you're when you're on the fence about it, but then they get really excited when you start talking to them. Also, this is just a personal thing. I absolutely hate it when people keep bombarding me with emails and texts and whatnot, and that's what makes somebody who keeps touching you, that just means contacting you. The way that I do my business is if you want to get wealthy, you reach out to me and then I will help you get wealthy. I don't need to keep reaching out to people because I have enough business and I'm focusing on buying my own properties, that if you want to get wealthy together, we can go be partners on something and do something together. I do help people with their primary residence, but again, I'm not necessarily seeking it because I want to do stuff like this, make content to teach people how to do what I'm doing. And also, I don't make any money off of this. I have 400 subscribers on my YouTube channel, which is awesome, but that doesn't, I don't make a dime off that, I don't get any money off that. This is all so you guys can do what I've done or what I've learned to do in the last 2 years. It's plain and simple. A quality realtor is a real estate pro, a real estate investor that has a real estate license. Easiest way to say it. Deciding what property you want. What is going to serve your family and what is going to serve your family to grow into? Or what's your longevity move? Is this going to be a fix and flip? There are so many strategies to making wealth in real estate. And by fix and flip, I'm not saying everyone should be a flipper, but do you want to move into a house that needs some kind of improvements? And are you kind of handy that you can improve over the years and then rent it out or sell it and then grow into a bigger property? Or if you're not that handy, something else that is great is house hacking. And there's multiple ways to do this. I house hacked for 2 years in my primary before I found a woman that I wanted to marry and didn't want to live with a roommate anymore. Not because I needed the money, but because I lived in a house for free for 2 years and somebody else paid my mortgage for 2 years. So I paid back myself all the money that I put in that house that it took me to close while living in the property. So house hacking, you can do rent by the room. You're making great time, which is concerning. Now the FHA just switched their rules, so you can do 3.5% down up to a property that has 4 residences in it or 4 units in it. Meaning you could buy a quadplex or a triplex or a duplex, rent out the other 3 units or 2 units or 1 unit, or you get it, with only putting 3.5% down of what that property the purchase price of that property is to get into that property. So you can rent out 3 units, live in one of them, and still buy it as a primary residence, which is a huge hack. And that's great because you don't have to share any spaces with anybody. They're 4 individual units. Now, the area that I'm in, it's almost impossible to find a multiplex to do that with. So I just bought my primary residence, and I bought as much house as I could afford, meaning as much house as a lender would give me. I wanted to compound as much appreciation as I could. Not saying that's for everyone. That's the decision I made. It worked out for me. Renting by the room, that's another option. You have to pay attention to who you're renting to. When you're sharing a primary residence, use the Fair Housing Act guidelines to pick a renter. That way, there's no question of discrimination. I would urge everyone, buy something that's at least 4 bedrooms. Why? Because the difference between the average rents of a 3-bedroom and a 4-bedroom, in my area at least, are over $500 a month for the average monthly rent. That's a much higher delta than between a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom, and there are just less 4-bedrooms available. And when somebody needs a 4-bedroom, they're willing to pay that's usually a bigger family, so they're willing to pay a premium for that property. If you do convert a primary residence to a rental property, which I urge everyone to do, hold on to your wealth, hold on to your property, get somebody else to pay down your principal, and then have a lump of cash or have a property to give over to your family. Oh gosh, I just thought another good realtor should be able to describe, what is it? Okay. A good realtor should be able to describe what the reset of basis is. Real estate investment strategy 101. Get a bunch of real estate and then freaking die. Give all that real estate over to your kids, because once you die, your real estate resets the basis. You keep on kicking the tax can down the road using the 1031 exchange. And then when you die, that resets the capital gains. So your heirs can take all of that wealth, all of that money, without paying taxes on it. Bread and butter of a good realtor is how well they can negotiate and make it a fair deal for everybody. Here's where I'm going to give you my hot tip. Leaving leverage in the deal. And what I mean by that is, don't go out swinging right out the gate. Try to make it as fair of a deal as you can. Give the seller their purchase price. Even if it's a little over market value, still give them that purchase price, because they care about that more than anything. You can do 4% seller concessions with FHA product, and you can do 6% seller concessions with a VA product. Now you got now they have what they believe the property is worth. You can put it towards your closing costs, so that doesn't come out of your pocket. And you can also buy down your rate. Where you want to leave leverage in the deal for is the inspection and the appraisal, because the appraisal happens towards the end of the escrow process. And if you still have leverage in the deal, which we did, and the appraisal comes back and says, hey, or the appraiser comes back and says, this comes at value, but you need to do all these fixes, instead of the seller being able to come to you and say, hey, we want you to pay for these, which is very uncommon. Our sellers were just unreasonable. But I had enough leverage, but we ended up getting another $6,000 worth of fixes right at the end of the deal, because I left leverage in the deal. We gave them their asking price, but we ended up getting a lot more concessions that made the mortgage $600 cheaper a month than we would have had to pay, even if we took $10,000 off the price of the home. And we got all the fixes that we wanted in the property. Another hot tip. Send this to your lender. If they can't do this, find another lender. It's called a 2-1 buy down. This is the silver bullet. This will make a property that's out of your price range much more affordable. Your debt to income, it's how much you can afford, and they're going to do a certain percentage based on what your loan product is, and it's going to be somewhere between 48 and 52% depending on the loan product, the lender. The interest rate affects your monthly payment more than anything else, more severely than anything else, rather. With the 2-1 buy down, it's going to lower your interest rate by 2 points the first year and 1 point the next year. A lot of people are concerned about variable interest rates, and typically I am too. The difference with this product is when the interest rate is going to differ, meaning that 12-month mark and that 24-month mark. And what's unique about this product is instead of you giving the bank money, a premium price, you're saying, I'm going to give you $10,000 and my rate's going to go down for 30 years. You're giving them cash and they're storing that cash in an escrow account where if you choose to refinance, then you can take the money out of that escrow account and pay for your refinance. So the way that we're strategizing this tip is now we have a 3.99% interest rate that we closed on December 22nd, 2023. That's right, sub 4% interest rate for the next 12 months. The thing is the Federal Reserve says in the next 12 months, they're going to lower the rates by 3 to 6 times, meaning we are most likely going to have a chance to refinance in that time, and our refinance is already paid for. Baby, it is hot in here. Dang, will you stay on the road? Just kidding.
I gotta slow down.
She's doing a great job.
We're getting up into the mountains.
She's just getting excited, and there's ice. There's more ice than there is road.
Ice road truckers, baby. That's me.
Anybody can get the 2-1 buy down. It just isn't well known for some reason, even though it's a super powerful tool right now. Last tip is refinance, guys. Don't be scared of, if you have a 3.7% rate, to refinance into a 4.2% interest rate. Your monthly payment will go up, but you can guarantee that your monthly payment will not go up for the next 30 years. Sans property taxes, which are minute. The lower rate that you have at, let's say it's a 3.7%, or let's say that we have the 3.99%.
Yeah.
We'll refinance at 4.25% because I don't know if it's going to go lower than 4.25% ever in our life.
I see.
And
because the
I want to
3.9 is
guarantee,
from buy down.
Yes.
Okay.
And I want to guarantee that I have 4.25% for 30 years,
yeah,
rather than rolling the dice and only having the 3.999 for 12 months.
Yeah.
A typical healthy interest rate in a healthy market is somewhere between 4.5% to 6%. That's where interest rates usually are. The 2 to 3%, guys, hate to break it to you, if you're waiting for that, you are going to die a renter.
That's not a real, normally they are around 5%. That's pretty standard.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. 5, anywhere, I guess I should say a healthy rate is anywhere between 5 to 7%. Is that what I said?
The goal of 2 days to not crash my car.
Yeah. The 30-year mortgage is the greatest hedge against inflation that we have, known to man, because rents match inflation. Rents can go up even in states and counties that have rent control between 9 to 10% a year. Rents always go up, and they actually beat inflation. Typically, if you look up maybe I'll put a chart in here, but the rent chart and the inflation charts, rents usually go up at a higher percentage than inflation does. There could be arguments that those are just reported numbers, and inflation, the way that the government reports inflation, isn't always accurate. There could be an argument that could be made. Meet me in the comments. We'll have that discussion. Again, I welcome open discussion. This is for you guys to learn and get a perspective, or 2 perspectives. Knuckle dragger and a super smoking hot, pretty haired angel.
Pretty haired.
Can you tell we're newlyweds? Do not get stuck renting. I understand interest rates are scary. I understand taking on debt is scary, but reframe your mind to understanding that that is leveraging. I can't go out and I can't afford to buy a $500,000 house with cash right now. But with a bank, it took us 13 grand out of our pocket to buy a $500,000 house. That's the house of our dreams. It has a dog run for my pups. It has a chicken coop for her chickens. It has a
sunflower garden.
It's on an acre. It's got a sunflower garden, and it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. I hope this video blesses you. If it stirs something up in you, maybe look inwards and meet me in the comments. Let's have a discussion about it, or send this to your realtor. Send this to your lender. They probably know more. I've only been doing it for 2 years. Have them fight me.
Peace.